Please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and my apologies, Senator Ricketts, but I appreciate the opportunity to discuss a topic that's very disturbing to me, and I think perhaps to all of us here. And I'd like to start with you, Dr. Murthy. I want to ask you if you believe that China should be held accountable for any of its malfeasance during the COVID pandemic, including their stonewalling, the lying, misleading the world about the pandemic's origin and its spread. I just appreciate a simple yes or no answer.
Well, yes, Senator. I think it's important for all countries to be held accountable, especially for lack of transparency.
I would say the country where the origin started is the one I'm focused on right now. Next question, do you believe that the World Health Organization should be held accountable for initially covering up the possibility that COVID came from a Chinese lab leak? And again, I'd appreciate a yes or no answer here.
Well, Senator, yes, I do believe accountability is important with the WHO as well when it comes to COVID origins.
I absolutely agree. Their performance in this regard was absolutely pathetic. They were late to the game, and they were very quick to dismiss the possibility that this leak came from the Wuhan lab. Specifically, in February of 2021, more than a year after COVID emerged, a WHO investigation team finally gets there, and then they almost immediately determined that it was, quote, extremely unlikely that COVID came from the Wuhan lab, and they recommended against further investigation. Yet, according to news reports, the Department of Energy's Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence just recently joined the FBI in assessing that COVID likely originated from a lab leak in China. I'd also note that the Energy Department's intelligence arm employs actual biologists, virologists, and other scientists in this regard. Moreover, just yesterday, FBI Director Wray publicly reiterated that COVID most likely came from Wuhan lab. So, Dr. Murthy, do you think it's extremely unlikely that COVID came from a lab leak in China?
Well, Senator, thank you for raising this issue. I think there is currently a range of opinions, as I understand it, in the intelligence community about the origins of COVID-19. The lab leak theory is one of those possibilities. And I don't think it's proper to discount a theory until it has been properly investigated.
I could not agree with you more.
My big concern, though, is the lack of transparency that we have had from China when it comes to gathering the information needed to actually get to the bottom of that story and to do a complete investigation that has integrity.
We share that concern, yet the WHO was more than willing to write this off and let the CCP get away without revealing base data and to quickly dismiss this. Given the recent DOE and FBI reports, do you believe that the WHO report was actually wrong to conclude that the lab leak was extremely unlikely and to recommend against any further investigation?
Well, I think it's clear that further investigation is needed, and that's something that President Biden has been clear on. That is when he directed the intelligence community
clearly
to
the
double
report
down.
was wrong. Mm-hmm. Clearly it was premature to shut down further investigations into the lab leak theory. Mm-hmm. The WHO is alarmingly close to the CCP, and the previous administration rightly withdrew from that organization. Despite all of this, President Biden unconditionally rejoined the WHO immediately after taking office. The United States is now again the WHO's largest donor. We're paying them more than $400 million per year. So, Dr. Murthy, do you trust China to be a good partner to the United States the next time we have a pandemic?
Well, I think we've got to ensure that there is accountability that comes through systems. It means that the money we give, Senator, the money you referenced, should not be a blank check to the WHO. It should come with assurances that the reforms that we are seeking are actually happening. And look, in this, one of the things we learned from COVID-19
we didn't get any assurances when we agreed to come back into the WHO organization. Have you got new information from me that we got assurances from the WHO when we agreed to come back in?
Well, I do think being a part of the WHO and engaging with them is the best way to change them. And
so we stepped back up to be the largest donor, yet we've got, as far as I know, no guarantees that they're going to reform. Certainly their performance doesn't support this. I think it's something that's deeply, deeply concerning. There's another area, though, that I'm deeply concerned about, and this has to do with our sovereignty. So I want to ask you this question as well. Should the United States ever, under any circumstance, cede its sovereign policymaking authority, for example, to the CCP during a pandemic?
No, Senator. We should retain...
I agree with you. I think that's correct. Next question, though, which is closely related to this. Then should the United States ever, under any circumstance, cede its sovereign policy-making authority to the WHO under
We
these
should retain
circumstances.
our sovereignty when it comes to making decisions for the American people's health and well-being.
I very much appreciate that answer. I'm also very concerned. As you know, the Biden administration is actively negotiating with other countries right now on a new agreement on global pandemic response that will give the WHO greater influence and control. This is a draft of the agreement. So, Dr. Murthy, if confirmed, I just would like to know if you'll commit to me and to this committee that you'll not participate in any effort to enter into any international agreement that would give the WHO greater control over future American pandemic responses. And again, I'd appreciate a yes or no answer.
Well, yes, Senator, I can assure you that one of my guiding principles will be maintaining American sovereignty in our decision-making. We know our people the best. We know what our people need here in America, and we've got to have and retain always the ability to make decisions.
So I can take that as a commitment that you will not cede greater control to the WHO over pandemic response here in America through the course of this agreement or any other.
No, I will always seek to retain our sovereignty when it comes
Is that
to
a
our
yes
health
or
decisions.
no answer?
It's what I said, Senator. I will strive to retain our sovereignty. That's important. I don't want to cede that to anyone.
I certainly would hate to see our sovereignty being given away in this agreement. Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to enter this document into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Murthy.
Thank you.